Hello my friends, and today we are starting right off with the Avdiivka direction. So here the Russians are pushing aggressively, and according to the latest data, they are deploying new reserves to increase their offensive capabilities towards Avdiivka. It's evident that they've rapidly expanded their controlled territory around Ocheretine to a point where cutting off this advance will be practically impossible. So today, the task is to at least hold the front line, but the occupiers are attempting to push further. They are conducting offensive actions towards Umansk from Orlivka, and here the Ukrainian forces are attempting counterattacks. There are also attempts to storm Ukrainian positions towards Pokrovsk, the village of Sokol, and the movement northward continues. There are assaults from Ocheretine across the fields towards Arkhangelsk, and additionally, battles are already underway on the outskirts of Arkhangelsk itself. Moreover, the assaults on Keramik continue, and it's important to note that the occupiers are actively deploying artillery and continuing to carry out airstrikes along the entire front line. Therefore, today there have been reports of shelling in the settlement of Kalinove, where the Russians are moving forward, and it seems this direction is aimed at Konstantinivka. Within a day, there have been 18 attacks here, and no new changes have been recorded on this front section overnight. But the fighting continues, and the 46th Separate Airborne Brigade commented on the situation in the Avdiivka direction and the Russians' immediate plans.
Most of the defense area in the Avdiivka direction from Solovyov to Karlivka is limited by obstacles in the form of the Vovcha River and the Karlivka Reservoir. This factor may complicate the withdrawal of units from the Berdikai-Semenivka-Mansky-Netilov line. Already, the defense area from above is locked by the occupiers in Solovyovo. At the same time, there are only 4 bridges for evacuation in this entire area, highlighted in black, of equipment and personnel suitable for evacuation. 3 of them are located in the village of Novoselivka-Persha, which, after the loss of Ocheretine, is within reach of even the enemy's company artillery, not to mention the larger artillery.
At the same time, Russian war correspondents described the situation as follows.
The Russian army is actively advancing in the direction of Krasnoarmysk, now Pokrovsk. There are 13 kilometers left from Ocheretino to the key highway Pokrovsk-Konstantinivka. By capturing the highway, units of the Russian armed forces will cut off all logistics and supplies to the armed forces of Ukraine in this area. After the liberation of Ocheretine, our troops will have operational space in the direction of the enemy's rear areas.
In the Marinka direction, the occupiers conducted over 10 attacks. They are currently launching offensive actions towards Georgievka and the village of Konstantinivka, attempting to approach from the southern side and breaking through the fields. As for Krasnohorivka, there are no reports of new assaults, and the front line remains unchanged for the day. In the Vuhledar direction, the occupiers failed to advance towards Vodyane. However, today they are actively trying to improve their positions near Stromoyorsky, Urozhaine, and attacks have begun near Priutne. So they are moving through the fields towards Novodarivka. 5 assaults were conducted within the day, all unsuccessful, and the front line remains unchanged. Despite this, the battles continue. In the Zaporizhia direction, the occupiers continue shelling along the front line, but no new attacks are reported, and the situation has stabilized. In the Kherson direction, the occupiers have resumed attacks on the village of Krinky and intensified shelling of the village. Additionally, there is now a significant increase in shelling on the right bank in the area of the island liberated by the Ukrainian forces. However, there have been no successes for the Russians along the front line, and the Ukrainian forces maintain the upper hand in this direction. In the Bakhmut direction, so the occupiers are increasing pressure, but without success. Yesterday's attacks near Grigorivka ended in failure for the Russians. They couldn't advance, so today there is only shelling of the village. However, active assaults continue in the area of Chasiv Yar towards the Novy Makro district, and battles persist for Ivanivsky, Klashivka, and Avdiivka. So the Russians conducted 27 assaults in a day, a significant number, but they still couldn't make progress, and the front line remains unchanged. So there is also a significant intensification in the Siversk direction. The occupiers are again attempting to storm Bilohorivka, trying to break through to Verkhnyo-Kamensk, and battles have resumed in the Rozdolivka area. However, they are achieving no success, and the Ukrainian forces repel all attacks, and the front line remains unchanged. In the direction of Crimea, the situation has worsened. So the occupiers have broken through in the area of Zarichne and realized that they can achieve success here. So they have deployed a large number of reserves into battle. Therefore, today there are assaults in the areas of Torske, Zarichne, and towards Liman. Unfortunately, the offensive actions towards Liman are again included in the reports. Meanwhile, battles continue in the forests near Crimea, and assaults persist in the areas of the villages of Terny and Nevsky. So there have been no advancements along the front line in a day, but the situation remains complex and fighting continues. In the direction of Svatove, the occupiers are storming Novosarhivka and attempting to encircle Novoyegorivka by advancing through the fields from the south. Meanwhile, battles persist in the area of Stelmachivka, but despite significant advances of up to 7 kilometers, no new successes have been reported in a day, and the fighting continues. In the Kupiansk direction, shelling continues, but part of Kislivka remains under the control of the Ukrainian forces as before, and the Ukrainian side doesn't confirm Russian claims of complete capture of the village. Meanwhile, US Secretary of State Antony Blinken stated that NATO has never harbored intentions against Russia and will not do so.
It was not the case before 2014 when Russia committed the first aggression against Ukraine. And as I mentioned before, the NATO alliance, a defensive alliance with no designs on Russia, never has had them, never will have them, is stronger and larger than it was with two countries, Finland and Sweden, that no one thought would be interested in joining NATO a few years ago, and now are members of the alliance. And of course, Europe has moved itself away from dependence on Russian energy in extraordinary ways in just the space of 2 years. All of this represents, I think, a huge strategic setback for Russia. In many ways, Putin has precipitated many of the things he's sought to prevent. I hope that there's recognition of that. And look, the minute that Russia demonstrates that it's genuinely willing to negotiate, we'll certainly be there. And I believe the Ukrainians will be there.
And that's all from me. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on all the latest news. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. Bye bye.